You are welcome to day 3 of the 72 IG implementation program. Today, we will be kickstarting the sales process for finding customers and selling the products we want to promote. This video is one of the most important videos in this training, so you might want to go through it 2 or 3 times to get a good understanding of it. As you know, nothing happens until a sale is made. And what I'm going to be explaining in this video is what will lead you to start making sales and hopefully plenty of it. In the day 2 training, I gave you some things to do. I hope you've done them by now. I told you to pick a suitable product to promote from Expertnia based on what I explained in video 1 of day 2. I also told you to copy your affiliate link and shorten it. I also told you to do product research to understand the product you want to promote. And I told you to do market research to understand the potential buyers. If you are yet to do these things, you have to go and do them so that you can continue with today's training. Here is our reminder again. Your work as an affiliate is to recommend helpful products to people who need them, who are interested in them, and who can afford them. Out of the 4 things listed here, we've already done number 1, which is about finding a product. We are supposed to move to number 2, but I have to explain number 3 first. Majority of what we're going to discuss today is all about number 3 on this list. So here is what we are covering for day 3. Why you should get used to strangers, introduction to a sales process or funnel. Then we'll talk about the 72 IG sales funnel. And then we'll talk about how you can create hooks and angles to attract people to your funnel. Then we're talking about creating your ads and pre-sales based on the hooks. And then I'm going to implement these steps. Let's start with why you should get used to strangers. For you to make 750K a month, you will need to be selling at least 60 to 100 copies of the product you are promoting. So where will all those buyers come from? Your WhatsApp list and Facebook list, they might like you, but if you depend on just them to build a reliable business, you are going to go broke. That's because the number of contacts on those lists are limited. This is why strangers are the people who are going to make you a lot of money. According to Facebook, there are about 25 million Nigerians on their platform. Now my question is, how many of them do you know personally? If you are being realistic, you don't know up to 10,000, which means most of them are strangers. So if the big money for you is going to come from strangers, the question is, how do you make strangers buy the product you are promoting? And the answer is what I call a sales process or a sales funnel. For the purpose of this training, I will be calling it a sales funnel. So what is a sales funnel? A sales funnel is a step-by-step process that helps you to turn a stranger to a fan or a friend. And when they become a fan or a friend, it's easier for you to turn them to a customer. Let's say strangers are like cold water, and let's say customers are like hot water. In order for cold to become hot, it passes through a stage where it becomes warm before it becomes hot. That is exactly what a sales funnel helps you to do. Without a sales funnel, you will be promoting your affiliate link directly and you will be getting very low sales. But with a well-implemented sales funnel like I'll be showing you, your sales is going to go up. Now, it's a known fact that people buy from people they know, people they like, or people they trust. So what a sales funnel does for you is that it gets strangers to know you, like you, or trust you. And when they do, they listen to your recommendations and then they buy the products you are promoting. It's highly important that you know that there are various sales funnels for different types of businesses. But the sales funnel we will be discussing here is what I call the 72 IG sales funnel. Or you can refer to it as the double pre-sale funnel. What this funnel does is that it helps you to activate know, like, and trust, so that you can turn strangers into fans and turn fans into customers. And the 72 IG funnel does this by using what? By using number one, adverts that help you to attract the right audience. Either it's on Facebook or on Instagram or on AdWords. Then it does this by using what I call sampler content or pre-sale content that helps you to position yourself or the product or both. Then by using email follow-ups that help you to continue building your relationship with these people so that you can recommend more helpful products to them and also remind them about the products. Now there are two ways to use what I call the 72 IG sales funnel depending on the traffic source you are using. Method number one that you can see here is the main method that can be deployed regardless of the traffic source you are using. And it starts with an advert. When people click on this advert, they are redirected to a page on your website where you have a piece of content known as a sampler or pre-sold content. I'm going to explain this part later on. When they engage with the sampler or pre-sold content, they are provided with a link to get more information. If they click on that link, it takes them to another page on your website that is known as the opt-in page or the capture page. When they land on the opt-in page, they can only do either of two things. They can sign up for what you are offering on the page, or they can leave. Some people will leave, and some who are really interested will sign up. Once they sign up, they will be taken to a thank you page where they can have access to what they requested for by signing up. Usually, this thank you page is where you present them with your affiliate link so that they can click on it and then they are redirected to the main sales page of the product you are promoting. But the funnel does not end there. That's because when they sign up on your opt-in page right here, you cannot continue to build a relationship with them and also send them reminders about this product that they showed an interest in. And you do so by sending them emails. Only a few percent of these people will buy within the first 24 hours of clicking on your affiliate link here, that is from the thank you page. Only a very small percent of them are going to buy within the first 24 hours. About 80% of your sales will come from the repeated follow-ups you will be doing via email. Let's look at method 2. Method 2 is similar to method 1. The only difference is that instead of people clicking an advert to go to the sampler or pre-sold page on your website, in method 2, the sampler or pre-sold content is the advert itself. This method is only useful when you are running adverts on Facebook, on YouTube, and sometimes Instagram. So in method 2, people engage with your sampler or pre-sold content instantly on Facebook or YouTube. And if they are interested in more, they click to go to your opt-in page. And the same thing that happened with method 1 also happens. So which one is better? Method 1 or method 2? I don't think anyone is better than the other. What matters the most is the content you put out. Is the type of sampler content or pre-sold content and then every other content in the funnel. Let me show you a live example of a campaign where I used method 1. So this is a sales funnel laid out here for one of the products on Expertnail. It starts with an advert on Facebook, which takes people to a sampler or a pre-sold content and then to an opt-in page. Once they opt in over here, it takes them to the thank you page where they can click on my affiliate link. And then they begin to get follow-up emails from me. Let's have a closer look at the different steps of the sales funnel for this campaign. This is the Facebook ad which starts the campaign. The only purpose of this advert is to send people to the pre-sale page. Then this is what the pre-sale page looks like. But you can see the full page by going to my website. Just go to 7sidecourses.com/perfect-mom. At the end of the content on the pre-sale page, they are presented with an offer to go and watch a video training about e-commerce. So they click a link that leads to my opt-in page. This is what the opt-in page looks like. When they sign up for this video training, they are redirected to the thank you page. This is the thank you page. And when they click on the link right here, this thing that says continue, which is actually my affiliate link, they are taken to the Expertnaire sales video for that product. And when they buy this product, I get a commission. However, only a tiny portion of them will buy immediately. But that's no problem because there is one more piece of the funnel remaining, which are the email follow-ups. We won't be talking about email follow-ups today anyway because that's going to be too much. So let's look at method number 2. I tried using method number 2 for this campaign to see if there will be any difference, but I found out that the results are similar. With method 2, what I simply did was to copy the content I had on the pre-sale page on my website and post it on Facebook directly. So with method 2, people can engage with your pre-sale or sampler content, and then from there they can go to your opt-in page. Now let's look at the different parts of the 72 IG funnel. The 72 IG funnel starts with ads that point to a sampler or pre-sale content, then the sampler or pre-sale content itself, then adverts that contain the sampler or pre-sale content, which is the one that you use on Facebook or Instagram, then the opt-in page, then the thank you page, and of course the affiliate sales page. Out of all these 6 parts, you only have control over parts 1 to 5. You don't have control over the sales page of the vendor you are promoting for. This is why you need to execute parts 1 to 5 as best as you can. Let's start by talking about the adverts. Because of the 272 IG methods, there are 2 types of adverts you can use. There are adverts that point to a sampler or pre-sale content, and the work of this advert is simply to get people's attention and make them curious about reading or viewing your sampler content. This is method 1 of the 72 IG funnel. For the second method, these ads contain the sampler or pre-sale content itself, and this one can be used only on Facebook, on Instagram, and then on YouTube. Since this advert is a sampler or pre-sale content, all it needs to do is to get attention and get people to consume it right now. I recommend that you create your sampler or pre-sale content before you create your adverts. So they basically look like this. With the first one, you have ads that point to the pre-sale or sampler content. So ad points to sampler or pre-sale content on your website. But on the second one right here, the advert is a sampler or pre-sale content. Now let's talk about the sampler and pre-sale content. These two are slightly different, but their objective is the same. They are here to help you start the process of turning a stranger into a fan. Let me define what a sampler content means. It means a piece of very useful content about the topic your prospect is interested in or what your prospect wants that is crafted and given away for free so that the prospect can see you as someone who is an authority or an expert on the topic. So basically what you are doing here is that you are giving out very useful content so that somebody can actually see you as somebody who knows more about that topic. Now for a pre-sale content, it's a piece of content that you use to position yourself and what you have to offer to your prospects and customers in such a way that it makes it desirable. It makes what you have to offer desirable. It makes you desirable. And it does this in a way that makes people trust you or like you or both. So pre-sale content can be about just positioning yourself for trust and credibility and then positioning what you have to offer. Or it can just be about positioning what you have to offer, which is what you do when the audience already knows you. Let me explain this to better. Let's start with the sampler content. The sampler content, like I said, is a piece of very useful content about the topic your prospect is interested in or what they want that is crafted and given away for free so that the prospect can see you as someone who is an authority or an expert on the topic. This content doesn't have to be exactly about the product you are promoting, but it has to be related to the overall topic that the product is based on. So for an example, let's say you are promoting a forex software that helps forex traders reduce their loss and make very good profits. What you can do to create your sampler content is to create an article that says 4 Forex mistakes that almost bankrupted me. So in this article, you are basically sharing good information about Forex, not about the Forex software, just about Forex. But at the end of the content, if it's an article, you can now add a promotion in form of a PS that says, smart Forex traders in Nigeria now use this advanced software to eradicate trading mistakes and make very good profits. Click here to read more about it. Then you put in your opt-in page link. Sampler content are easier to create because you can basically find a piece of useful content online that the audience you are promoting will like, tweak it, and then you can use it. So let's talk about the pre-sale content. The pre-sale content is a piece of content that you use to position yourself and what you have to offer, the product you are promoting, to your prospects in such a way that it makes it desirable and in a way that makes them trust you or like you or both. This content, this pre-sale content, has to be directly related to the product you are promoting. And your mission is to use good content or stories to make the reader desire their product. Most pre-sale content usually come in form of stories. Not all, but most come in form of stories. So let's use the same example again about promoting a Forex software that helps Forex traders reduce their losses and make very good profits. Your pre-sale content, which can be an article or video, could be in form of a story titled How I Lost 5 Million Naira Trading Forex and Made 15 million Naira Back. So what you now do during this article is that you now explain how you lost 5 million Naira before, but then you now had access to a software that now helps you to trade and make more profits, and that is why you made 15 million Naira back. So in this case, you are talking about the product, about how it helped you, and about how it can help your prospects. Then at the end of the content, you could now add a PS that says, the ABC Forex software that helped me turn my losses into profits is secretly available at a 50% discount code. To get a discount link, click here and then you put in your opt-in page. You can present both sampler and pre-sale contents in form of an email, PDF, quiz, video, article, or blog post. But since we are using this for adverts, we're going to be focusing just on articles and videos. If you are using YouTube as your traffic source, you will definitely have to use video. You can use articles or videos on Facebook and Instagram. I prefer using articles because you can easily create and edit them. Under email follow-ups, we will talk about presenting pre-sale contents as emails. So how exactly do you create this sampler or pre-sale content that you will be using within your sales funnel? There is a proven formula for doing so, and this formula consists of 3 things. Number 1, you need to know the topic very well, which is where research comes in. Make sure you've studied the sales copy for the product and even the product itself, and make sure you found other additional information to help you on Google, on YouTube, on online forums. We'll talk about this in day 2. Then number 2, you will need a powerful hook or angle to present the content. And of course, number 3, just follow what I call the HOPCC formula. We'll talk about that one later on. For now, let me just say this. Both sampler content and pre-sale content, they have to be related to the product you are promoting or the topic the product is related to. Don't just create any type of content out of thin air. An example is this. If the product is about relocating to Canada, then your sampler content can be about 7 important documents you must have to relocate to Canada in 2020. You can see it has to do with relocating to Canada. Then the pre-sale content can be about why I wasted 5 million naira in 6 years trying to relocate to Canada. You can also see that this one too has to do with relocating to Canada. And then you can use either sampler content or pre-sale content in your campaigns. Whichever one you want to go with, sampler or pre-sale or both, they are okay. So let's talk about the HOPCC formula for create very effective sampler and pre-sale content. This formula is simple to use. It starts with a headline, a compelling headline. Then you open with an interesting or intriguing statement. Then you establish a frame of authority or likability. Then you deliver the main information, and then you do a conclusion and call to action. So let me break these things down. Let me explain them one by one. Let's start with the headline. The most important part of your sampler or pre-sale content is the headline. When you are running on Facebook, this will usually be the first sentence of your post. The headline is the most important part because your content should be able to capture people's attention. If it fails to do that, the rest of the content is going to be useless because people won't engage with it. So we create a compelling headline by creating something that looks unusual or looks really valuable. We want a headline that says something like, "I'm great content, come and read me." And for us to actually do this, we use angles. So what are angles? Angles are various ways of presenting a piece of content to get the attention of the reader and make the content interesting to them. This leads to better engagement. So instead of saying 4 forex trading mistakes to avoid, you will get better engagement if you say 4 forex mistakes that cost me 10 million naira last year, or 4 forex mistakes that almost bankrupted me. The good thing is that you don't have to come up with powerful angles from scratch. What I have done for you is that I have come up with many angles that you can use because they are based on formulas that make it possible for you to use them for various topics. So what you should do is just go to the resources section of Day 3 and download the angle swipe file. So let's look at some examples of angles and how you can modify them and use them for your promotions. Number of mistakes that in brackets state something they want to avoid or how they make it. So I could say 4 forex trading mistakes that cost me 5 million naira last year. Or I could say 3 mistakes people make when buying land in Lagos if my ad is about real estate. Another example, how odd thing gave me XYZ benefits. So odd thing is what you can insert and XYZ benefit is what you can insert. So here I could say how a rosary saved my life. Or you can say, let me tell you how a rosary saved my life. Now when I say odd thing here, I don't mean something that is bad. What I'm rather say is that something that is not a usual topic. Then, how a strange accident saved me from baldness. Then another formula, the perfect formula for, then you insert the benefits they would like to have. Example is the perfect formula for meeting beautiful girls on Instagram, or the perfect formula for putting together a winning US visa application. Another angle formula, how I did something strange to get a result my audience would like to get. Example, how eating 10 eggs a day made me lose 20 kg in 30 days. Or how I lost 3 million naira trading forex and made 15 million naira profit back. Now, these examples I'm giving to you, some of them might not be Facebook compliant. I'm just giving them to you so that you can really understand exactly what these angles are all about. Another example, what I did when then you insert topic that your audience is interested in. An example, what I did when Facebook disabled all my advertising accounts. What I did when I started losing my hair. What I did when I had to pass IELTS test or join the Nigerian army. So in all of these cases now, for instance, somebody who is in the running Facebook ads, they would like to read this. People who are losing their hair, they would like to read this. People who want to pass an IELTS exam, they would like to read this. Once again, you can download the Angle Swipe file in the resources section of day 3. Next, let's talk about the opening statement for your sampler or pre-sale content. The opening statement is also very important because getting people's attention is not enough. You also have to retain that attention. And you do this by using the opening statement or opening line. This opening line has to be something that strongly engages the mind of the reader or viewer. It has to hook them so that they read the next line and read the next line. Let's look at various opening statement methods that are proven to work. As usual, I have proven formulas that you can use to come up with powerful opening statements. There are 4 formulas you can use. The first formula is the one where you adjust the headline into your opening statement. The second one is the one where you open with a shocking personal experience or emotional incident. The third one is one where you share the interesting story of a third party. And the fourth one is one where you ask a question that is about the topic or the product that you are going to say yes to. So you can download the swipe file for opening statements in the resources section of day 3. These formulas one after the other. Let's start with the first opening statement formula. This one says adjusting the headline into our opening statements. So what you are doing here is to simply take the angle you've created and just adjust it into your opening statement. And this method is going to be very useful for you when you're running adverts on Facebook. Let me show you some examples. Previously, we talked about an angle that says 4 forex trading mistakes that cost me 5 million last year. So what we can do here is that we can now add what I want to share with you today is about, then we put the headline there. So here we just say, what I want to share today are the 4 forex trading mistakes that cost me 5 million last year. I try to eliminate you here if I'm running this on Facebook. Or I can say, what I want to share today is the perfect formula for meeting women on Instagram. Let's see more examples based on this first formula. Here is another one. Let's talk about the new method of then you insert the benefits that few of your audience know about. So you can say, let's talk about the new method of meeting women on Instagram that many men don't know about. Or you can say, let's talk about the new method of relocating to Canada that few Nigerians know about. Another formula is one where you just say, then you mention a particular date, back in May 2018, then you say, I didn't know what to do, then you insert the benefits that they want to get there. So an example is this. I could say, back in January 2019, I didn't know what to do to meet women on Instagram. Or I could say, back in November 2018, I didn't know what to do to prepare a father sauce. So basically that's kind of like how you use these formulas. Let's look at the second opening statement formula. For this particular one, what you do is you open with a shocking personal experience or emotional incident. And you can use this one too on Facebook if what you are saying is compliant with their policies. An example is this. I can say, I will never forget the day I almost died of a heart attack. Now that is like a shocking personal experience. Or I could say, on September 14, 2015, I made the biggest financial mistake of my life. If I had to kind of like use this one for the Forex example, I could just say, on date, I made the biggest Forex trading mistake of my life. Now you can use this formula as your opening line on Facebook. Just make sure this first line indicates what the post is about. Let's look at the third opening statement formula. For this particular one, what you do is that you share the interesting story of a third party, and this story must be related to the audience or the topic or the product. An example is this one. The story I'm about to tell you is that of my Aunt Meg who never married. Now this angle here, this opening here is going to be interesting mostly to women, especially single women. who are looking forward to get married. Another example is this one that says, this write-up is about how my brother lost 700,000 naira to US visa agents in 1994. This write-up, although I'll change the date anyway, this opening is going to hook in people who are looking forward to getting a visa and who want to ensure that they don't lose money. Now, let's look at the fourth opening statement formula. For this particular one, what you're just doing is that you are asking a question. Mostly a question they are likely to say yes to. But this might not be really useful on Facebook, but you can use it when you are using other traffic sources. So for example, you can say, do you secretly wish you are a size 8? Or if you say, do you secretly cry at night because men don't find you attractive? Then this one says, do you know that as you get older, less and less oxygen is absorbed by your skin? I have studied this particular one because this is not a yes question, but it's part of it. It's a question too. Are you always stressed out and don't know why? So basically what you are doing here is that you are asking them a question about what they are facing, but you are doing it in a way that makes them say yes to the question. Once you are done with the opening sentence, the next thing you are going to be doing is to establish your positioning. And what do I mean? When I say positioning or preframing, it's about how you want people to see you as they consume your content online. You know, these people are strangers. You want them to see you in a way that makes them consume your content and take it serious. So the question is, what do you want them to think about you before they even have a chance to consume your content? Let me just share an example with you. Let's say you registered for a class on martial arts, maybe Kung Fu or Karate, and they told you that the guy who will be taking the class used to work as an assassin for Pablo Escobar. Now think about it. This is going to affect how you behave and respond to the man when he comes to deliver the class. So that is what this positioning or preframing thing is all about. It's all about getting people to think about you in a particular way. Positioning is important because people listen to experts and authorities on a subject, or someone they like, or someone they can relate with. And when people are consuming your content online, or before they listen to your advice, or before they buy your products or what you are recommending, they want to know, who are you? Why should I listen to you? What makes you different? So how do you position yourself or establish the right frame for your promotions? You do so by using these 4 elements. Element 1 is a frame of authority. Element 2 is borrowed authority, bonding, and then being neutral, being a neutral person. Let me explain these 4 different elements, and I'm going to be doing so using different methods that I've come up with that allows you to use them. So let's start with positioning method number 1. This is where you simply say you are an authority. And this method works fine when you have an authority status that people understand. Something like maybe you are a doctor or an author, or you happen to be a leader of a known company. As an example, I could say, my name is Tony Mutosho, and up to November 2015, I worked as the vice president of Samsung Nigerian branch. This is going to be easy for people to believe because anyone can just come online and say they used to be the vice president of Samsung Nigeria. Another example is this one. I learned this lesson during my 40 years of working as a brain surgeon. So for this one, if I happen to be a doctor or a retired doctor, I could use something like this. So when people say this, they tend to listen more to me because they will feel like this person is a doctor, so he is an authority. Another example, after the successful launch of my last book titled XYZ, which is now on Amazon, what is this implying? This is just saying that I'm an author who has his books on Amazon. Or I could use the one that says, once in a while I get various questions from people who read my book, which means I'm an author. And people are willing to listen to somebody who is an author because for you to write a book on a topic, it means you are an authority on that topic. So let's look at positioning method number 2. And this is where you create the perception that you are an authority on the topic being discussed, and you do this by using what I call authority quote statements. Let me give you some examples. An example is this. I could say, since I started my travel consultancy 9 years ago, one of the main questions people have been asking me has to do with relocating to Australia. And the perception here is that I have spent 9 years as a travel consultant. That is what I'm trying to get them to see. But I'm saying it indirectly. Other examples are, I could say, this week, 33 out of the 78 emails I received are questions about relocating to Canada as fast as possible. Or I could say, one of my newsletter subscribers sent this question to me last week. The article that follows is my reply. Or I could say, one of our travel newsletter subscribers wrote, "Hi XYZ, please is there a way to relocate to Canada without writing the IELTS exam?" The perception delivered by these 3 examples is that you have people who listen to your advice, and this is because you are an authority on the topic. That is what you are trying to pass across. Let's look at positioning method number 3. This is where you leverage on the authority of a third party. It's about borrowing authority from someone that the audience already trusts, or someone they can easily confirm via Google. And a simple way to do this is to say you learned what you are about to teach or share is from someone who is a known authority. An example is, I could say, I learned this from Dr. XYZ from Sweden, and he is the first person who revealed this information. So that when they now go to Google to search for this Dr. XYZ from Sweden, they will be able to see that this person is actually a real authority. So in this case, I'm just borrowing that authority for my content. Or I could say, I learned this lesson from Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is a public figure. Or I could say, I learned this from the speech given by the Canadian Prime Minister in 2018 about immigration. In this case, the Canadian Prime Minister is an authority. Or I could say, I learned this while reading the biography of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, which everybody knows. Positioning method number 4 is where you let them see you as someone they can relate with. This positioning method is about bonding based on the fact that we usually like people who are like us, and a simple way to do this is to share a story they can relate with. A good story approach you can use here is a grass to green story, where you talk about how somebody used to be on the low side and how they moved up. That's kind of like a good story approach that you can use here. So let me share some examples with you. I could do a preframe that says, when I graduated from the university, I was filled with hope of getting a good job because 3 of my uncles have already promised me. Many people can easily relate with this, so it makes them believe me. Then here is one that I actually used, where I said, back in 2008, I created a little online business from the cyber cafe. The entire cost of setting up this online business was 3,000 naira, but at least it made 4K every month for 12 months. At the time I set up this online business, I was living on 2K a month. Now, people can also relate with something like this. Then this one right here, this example right here, that says I finished from secondary school early, is another example of relating with your audience, and I really like this one. You can pause the video and read it. It will make more sense to women. Then here are other examples. Starting a business in Nigeria not be small thing. And then this one that says, when I turned 40, I made an amazing discovery about how my body works. So somebody who is 40 or older, they are going to want to read this content because they can relate with it. Then positioning method number 5 is when you appear as an independent or non-biased reviewer or researcher or even a blogger. So this positioning method is about you behaving as if you are only trying to help people make informed decisions and you have nothing to gain from doing so. And this one works very well for pre-sale contents. And a simple way to do this is by presenting yourself as a reporter or a researcher who is simply sharing the products or information they discovered with the public. The first way of doing this is by reviewing a product and then writing a review about the product from the angle of a non-biased person or a non-biased reporter. So I could say, can one really relocate to Canada within 6 to 9 months? About 2 days ago, I came across a guide online that promises valuable information about relocating to Canada within 6 to 9 months. It sounded true, but one has to be careful these days. Out of curiosity, I decided to get the guide and check out the information, especially since there was a money back guarantee if I wasn't satisfied. I was surprised. Then you continue by sharing more tips about part of the info inside the product or inside the guide. The second way of doing it is by reviewing the topic that the product is about, then writing a non-biased report about it. And then you basically present the product you are promoting at the end. So for this particular one, I could say one of the hot topics in Nigeria these days is about relocating to Canada. But is it worth it? And then what does it cost? And how long does it take? About 2 months ago, I decided to nosedive into the topic. And this post is a summary of what you should know if you plan to relocate to Canada. So as you can see right here, this makes it look as if I'm a non-biased reporter or a non-biased researcher who is just trying to help people make informed decisions about moving to Canada. What I like to do before I begin to create any advert or sampler content or pre-sale content is I like to write a summary of my positioning, and I will advise you to do the same. This frame of positioning is what you will be using each time you are creating a sampler or pre-sale content for strangers. So here's an example. If I had to run adverts online to get advertising clients, the type of positioning I will use will be something like, Tony Omotoka is a Facebook ad expert. He spends millions of dollars yearly on Facebook ads. He also trains other people on how to use Facebook ads, and his students are super successful. That would be the kind of frame I want to present, I want to use in creating all of my content. That would be the voice behind all of my content. And this is another frame for someone promoting travel-related products as a freelance researcher using the non-biased angle now. So I could say, Femi Ajala is a freelance writer who writes about travel and immigration topics. His articles about immigration have helped thousands of Nigerians to successfully relocate to the country of their choice while avoiding the nets of scammers. Now that you are done with the headline, the opening statement, and the positioning parts, which are the most important parts, you can now move forward to deliver the main content they actually want to consume. Now, when doing this, you want to demonstrate that you really know what you are talking about. Even if the content is from Google, don't present it as a boring content from Google. Present it in a way that shows you have deep knowledge and expertise about the content, and ensure that you are not boring. There are 5 ways to deliver your content. You can deliver the content as a story. The story can be yours, or it can be that of a third party. Then you can deliver it as a case study. Then you can also deliver it as simple, useful content as it relates to the prospect. Then you can deliver it in form of a list, where you're basically sharing maybe step 1, step 2, or tip 1, tip 2, something like that. Or you can deliver the content as a product or topic review. Now that you have shared your information with them, it's time to tell them what to do next, so that the small amount of people who are really interested can move ahead. And this is where the conclusion and call to action part comes into play. This is where you introduce them to the product creator of the product you are promoting, or this is where you introduce them to the product itself or the sales material of the product. This is also where you give them the link to your opt-in page. It all happens in the conclusion and call to action part of your pre-sale or sampler content. So there are 4 effective ways of presenting the conclusion and call to action. The first method is where you use the "if you enjoy this content, here is what you will also enjoy" angle. So let's say the article you just read is about tips on relocating to Canada. Then you can end it by saying something like, "If you enjoy this article, you are going to enjoy this special video that explains how Nigerians are now relocating to Canada without passing IELTS." Then you give them a link to watch the video, and that link would be a link pointing to your opt-in page. The second call to action method is where you say, "Here is why I wrote this article." Again, let's say we are promoting a product on relocating to Canada. So we can just say, "Here is why I wrote the article. Many people who want to move to Canada are losing money to immigration lawyers and travel agents. This ought not to be so, especially since you don't need them. You can actually process your relocation to Canada with affordable funds. This short video explains how you can secure your Canadian permanent residence." And then you simply say, "Click here to watch the video," and insert your opt-in URL. Then the third method for the call to action is where you say, "Here is why this method works." In this case, when I say method, you can replace method with strategy, formula, ingredient, business model, and so on. And you use this when you have just shared that method in the content that they consumed. So still going by our Canada relocation example, we can have, "Here is why this method works." That is the method you just shared in the article. Every year, thousands of Nigerians fail the IELTS exam, which crushes their chance of moving to Canada. Instead, you can try this new approach that doesn't require that you pass IELTS. Watch the special video to understand this new program and how it works. Click here to watch the video, and again, you insert your opt-in URL. Call to action method number 4 is my favorite. And this method is where you insert your call to action within the PS. This method works fantastically well when you use sampler content. And this is where you basically insert your promotion in the PS part of the article they just read. PS means the postscript. So let's say they just read an article on how to relocate to Canada. You can add a postscript that says, "If you enjoy this article, you are going to enjoy this special video that explains how Nigerians are now relocating to Canada without passing IELTS." Then you put in your opt-in URL. Or you can say, "Recently, one of my friends in Canada hinted me about a new immigration program that was recently introduced by the Canadian government that doesn't require a high IELTS score." Put in your opt-in URL. So basically what you are doing here is that you are inserting the promotion that makes them to go to your opt-in page in the postscript section. Method number 5 is something that is just powerful, but it only works with pre-sale content, not sampler content. So this method works great when you are coming from the angle of a researcher or a reviewer of a product. And what you are doing here is you are giving them a secret code or a link that they can use to save money while buying the product you just told them about. So let's say your pre-sale is a review article about a Canada relocation product that is very good. You cannot tell them that they can get that same product for a discount if they use the link you are going to give them within a time frame. An example is this: you can say, "By the way, I purchased this new Canada relocation guide by Daniela for 40,000 naira, but I later found out a secret page where he is offering it for a discount price of 25,000. If you are interested, click here to get the discount page link." And then you put in your opt-in page link right there. So those are the 5 methods for presenting your call to action for your sampler or your pre-sold content. We are now done with the HOPCC formula, but let me add this. Always remember to use your sampler and your pre-sold content to attract qualified prospects and repel others. I'm saying this because this is based on 2 things. You want to attract people who are interested in what you are promoting and people who have purchasing power. If the product you are promoting, for instance, is about Forex, make sure your pre-sold or your sampler content is about Forex. If your product is about moving to Canada, make sure your pre-sold or sampler content is about moving to Canada. Then whenever I'm promoting a product, I like to drop hints within my pre-sold or sampler content to attract people who have money to spend and repel broke and poor people. I don't have anything against broke people, but I don't want them near my adverts. I only want people who have money to buy what I'm promoting. So if I were promoting a product on how to relocate to Canada, I can include 1 or more sentences where I say, the average cost of moving to Canada from Nigeria for one person is 1.5 million naira regardless of the program involved. Before wasting money, it's advised that you find out what Canada relocation method is best suited for you. I have created a video or article to help you find out, and then I put my link right there. So that will be all for today's training. I know it's a lot to take in, but just go through it again and again. And when you begin to implement this, you are going to get used to it. To help you to make this easier for you, I have put together various templates and formulas that you can use when putting together your marketing content. I have angles or headline formulas you can use, templates and samples. I have Facebook opening statement formulas and samples. I have framing and positioning templates and samples. Then I have conclusion and call to action template that you can use. And of course, I actually have full samples of pre-sale and sampler articles. Make sure you download all of these by going to my72ig.com/day3. my72ig.com/day3. It's a zip file, so you need to kind of like open it and access the files inside. It is now time for implementation. So what I'm going to do here is that, number 1, I'm going to create a positioning or frame that I'm going to be using to present my sampler or pre-sale content for my product, the one I showed yesterday. Then I will create 5 to 10 angles for that product. Then I will write Facebook friendly openers for these angles, this one over here. Then I will create the full sampler or pre-sale content for one of these angles. Then I will modify that same content, the one before. I will modify them so that I can create more for all these remaining angles. So I'm going to go back to my folder. This is my folder. This is my 72IG May campaign folder. And what I have here is project details, pre-sale content ideas, pre-sale content, then product and market research, and then I have raw info. So first of all, let me open this raw info to let you see something. If you remember, I told you about the importance of research. So what I have done is that I have actually done some research about the product I showed, which has to do with relocating to Canada. So this is what I have here is in this raw info notepad, that just all the basic things that I just saw online. So I saw all of this stuff, I copied it and put it into this particular part. On Twitter, I saw some information right there. When I searched for it, then I just put everything inside this particular notepad. So that's that. Then the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to create my positioning and my frame. So I've done that already. Let me just show you what I did. Let me click. Okay, so this is it. So products is the Rural and Northern Canada Immigration Guide by Daniel Ola, right? And what I'm doing is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's look at the first one I did. For the positioning, I began by writing my name. Now, for this project, I'm going to be using a pen name. I'm not going to be using Tony Montoya for this particular campaign. I'm going to be using a pen name. And I'm doing it because I actually want to use a name that nobody knows about, nobody knows me about, to actually prove to you that this stuff actually works. So my name is going to be Tunde Adewale of travelmattersng.com. And my frame, my positioning is going to be that Tunde Adewale is a researcher about travel and immigration topics. He researches and creates helpful content to guide Nigerians on legitimate travel and immigration opportunities. So this is the frame, the voice that is going to be at the back of all of my content. So I looked through the same swipe file of angles and Facebook openers that I have made available to you, and I came up with just 5. So for this one, I have formula. This is the formula here. The formula says the costs or sacrifice needed to achieve what prospect wants is XYZ. Then explain. That's kind of like this formula. So here, what I did is that I created this algo that says the average cost of relocating to Canada from Nigeria for one person is 1.5 million, regardless of the program involved. Here is a rough breakdown. So as you can see, the formula says the cost needed to achieve what prospect wants. What prospect wants here is to relocate to Canada from Nigeria. So that's how I came up with this one. The Facebook version, because here I have right Facebook friendly openers for the angles. So what I'm just doing is that I'm creating the angle and then I'm creating the Facebook version immediately. Then for the second angle, I use the formula that says the new method for getting XYZ. So you can replace method with other things, or then you can replace XYZ, getting XYZ with other things, but it must be what the prospect wants to achieve. So my angle here is the new method for relocating to Canada in 2020, because relocating to Canada is what they want to achieve, and then I just put that one there. For the Facebook version, I can change this one to let's talk about the new method for relocating to Canada in 2020. You are going to see various samples in the swipe file that you can use. Then for the third one, it says X mistakes. The formula says X mistakes people make when trying to achieve XYZ. XYZ here is what my prospect wants to achieve. So the angle I came up with here is 7 costly mistakes Nigerians make when relocating to Canada. You can see X mistakes people make when trying to achieve XYZ. So 7 costly mistakes Nigerians make when relocating to Canada. And the Facebook version can say this post is about 7 costly mistakes many Nigerians make when trying to relocate to Canada. Then for the fourth angle, the formula here is one of my newsletter subscribers or blog readers or book readers forwarded the question below to me about then you insert interesting topic or challenge. So this is what I have. The angle I came up with just is one of my blog readers forwarded the question below to me about relocating to Canada. The question says, is it possible for someone to relocate to Canada without the IELTS exam? Here is my reply. So this one also fits into Facebook. And then the fifth angle I came up with is based on this formula that says the ugly truth about XYZ. XYZ here is what they want to achieve. So the angle I came up with just says the ugly truth about relocating to Canada in 2020, because that is what they want to achieve. So the Facebook version says something like, I wrote this post to discuss what I consider to be the ugly truth about relocating to Canada in 2020. So that is for my angles, and then my create 5 to 10 angles for your products. I came up with just 5. Maybe I'll come up with 5 more later on. Then I wrote my Facebook friendly openers too. As you can see right here, I wrote my Facebook friendly openers too. So that one too has been done. Then the next thing I have to do is to create the full sampler or pre-sell content for one of the angles. So I'll just take one of these angles that I have created, one of these ones, and then just basically create my main content for it. So let me just go back to my folder and I'm going to open this up. So what I have here is actually the full content that I came up with. So the first one here is I used these Let me show you. Let's talk about the new method for, okay, this one says, let's talk about the new method for relocating to Canada in 2020. So that is what I began with. So I have this one that says, let's talk about the new method for relocating to Canada in 2020. I started by saying, firstly, I must apologize. I was supposed to post this last week, but I was the one taking care of the entire family. So the framing I'm using here is a framing that helps people to see me as somebody who is responsible and somebody who wants people to get access to good information. That's why I said, plus I had to verify this information before posting. And really, always ensure that you don't post wrong information online. Here is the good news. If relocating to Canada in 2020 is part of your goals, then you should know about the new program that the Canadian government launched recently. Now, this is the content part now. So I have done, in this case, because this is on Facebook, the headline and the opener are kind of like the same. So that is, let's talk about the new method for relocating to Canada in 2020. That's like the headline and the opener. Then for the framing, I used this one that says, I was supposed to post this last week, but I was the one taking care of the entire family. Plus, I had to verify this information before posting. That is the framing that I used. So which shows that I'm somebody who wants people to have access to very good information, and then I am responsible because I'm taking care of our entire family. So this is the main content right here. Here is the good news. Then I have the content right here about the entire program. I have everything right here. That's the content all over there. So then we come to the conclusion. For this conclusion, I said, many Nigerians are already using this method to relocate to Canada, but like other immigration channels, it will soon become highly competitive. And that is why the time to learn more about it and start processing it is now. Then what I did here is that I talked about Mr. Daniel Ola, who happens to be the person who created the guide. So I said, Mr. Daniel Ola, a Nigerian immigration expert based in Canada, created a video to explain how this new program works and how one can apply. Now, the reason why I put this, a Nigerian immigration expert based in Canada, is to create credibility for this man. So I said, if you are interested, click here to watch the video. Then this link will now go to my opt-in page. So that is my second assignment. Create the full sampler or pre-sale content for one of the angles. The one I did here is a pre-sale content. That's one I used right here. Modify the same content you created for the remaining angles. So what I want to say is that I should take this same content and then modify it to fit into the other angles that I have. So I couldn't finish all of that, but I just did it for just one. So one of the angles that I came up with was this one that says the ugly truth about relocating to Canada in 2020. Now I wanted to see how I fit in this content into this angle. What I just did was that I just basically edited the beginning. So for this particular one, I said, let me explain. When I wrote my first article about relocating to Canada via express entry in 2016, the cutoff mark was 276. Today, it is 435, which is high. In order to meet that cutoff, one will need to have very high score in the IELTS test, which many people fail. But what if you don't need to pass IELTS? The good news is that such a program now exists. So what I got is that if you look here, such a program now exists. The Canadian government launched it last year, and this is the only Canada immigration program that allows you to become a permanent Canadian resident even if you do not have a degree. With this new program, you can get a job anywhere in Canada. And what I have done here is that I just basically came here and linked what I have, this content, up with this. Alright? So, and then at the end of it, I just basically came here and then I talked about Mr. Daniel Ola again and how he has created a video to explain how this new program works and how one can apply. And then here is my call to action. So basically that is how you go about it. One other thing that I did with this, my example, is that I also created a sampler based content so that you can see how it looks like. This one is just basically information. So, but here I'm using borrowed authority. So if you look at it, it says, one of my friends who relocated to Canada recently shared some lessons with me about his relocation, and I thought I should share them. So for this particular one, the opener is still what I'm using for my framing. And here what is happening is that I'm borrowing the frame of my friend who just moved to Canada, because for him to move to Canada, he's seen as somebody who happens to know about the topic or who is an authority about it, because he is now in Canada. So, and then I have all of this, enjoy it. So then the content is here. No, this is the content. And then at the end of it all, I added a PS. So you can see what I did here. I added a PS, and the PS is, there is a new immigration program recently introduced by the Canadian government. This is the only Canada relocation program that allows you to become a permanent Canadian resident even if you do not have a degree. And then I went ahead and, talked about this man too again, and then I said, if you are interested, click here to watch the video. So what I have done here again is that I'm inserting my promotion in the PS section just like I taught you in the video. So that's basically how you can get this stuff done. And what has really helped me to create all of this content is the research I did. Without research, I won't even have access to all of this information. I got all of this information I got some of them from Twitter, I got some from Instagram, I got some from Facebook. I put everything into this my raw info file over here, and then I basically used the information to come up with my angles and then to come up with my pre-sale contents. So it's now your turn. Here are the things you should do next. You have to do the same thing that I did. You have to create a positioning of frame that you are going to be using to present your sampler or pre-sale content for the product you want to promote. Maybe you want to use your name or you want to use a pen name. Both are okay. Then you create 5 to 10 angles for your product. Then you write Facebook friendly openers for the angles, just like I have done. Then you create the full sampler or pre-sale content for one of the angles, and then you modify the content you created for the remaining angles. This is probably going to take you a while if you are new to this, so just go over this video again and again and again and again. We're going to continue this training on day 4.